You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm rusty.
You rusty? It's been a minute.
It has. I've missed this.
Yeah, I have too.
We've missed all you guys.
Hopefully our listeners have missed us as well. So you're full of content, ready to burst, huh?
Ready. I'm ready to go. It's so weird how I've noticed this so many times. We'll be out, and it usually involves being out in the backyard, either in the pool or just sitting out there talking. And either I'm by myself and something comes to my mind and I'm like, oh, this would be so great. It was such a great conversation. Or we're out there together and we start chit chat and thinking, I wish we had our microphones right out there doing a podcast, because it's some kind of incredible thing that would, be a good subject to talk about.
Yeah.
And then the next day or 2 or 3 days later, I cannot for the life of me think, what in the world was that?
Right.
I can't remember one single ounce of what it was.
And that's either is that old person brain or is that just because there's so many things that come and go? There's so many subjects, so much, that we could talk about.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've said many times that recently people said you should call this long haul life, because it's not just about marriage or relationships. It's about all kinds of things in life, because we talk about mental health and anxiety and depression, social media, all the things. But those all affect our relationships. I was today, and literally this morning, we were talking about a couple of podcasts I'm listening to that's all about our mental health, our brain chemistry, our physiology, our bodies, right? And our bodies as a machine, and the way it's supposed to work and the way it wants to work. And, your body will heal itself if you basically put the right things in and keep the wrong things out. Specifically, we were talking about fasting again, and just the benefits of fasting, but how, a lot of times we want those, the physical benefits, which are numerous, but just the mental benefits, the emotional benefits. When you hear that 90% of your dopamine and your serotonin is produced in your gut, right? The second brain. And how's your microbiome health, right? How's your gut health? But anyway, but there's just so much.
Yes.
And we were just talking about this morning how everything relates to marriage. Everything relates to relationships. So the way we've divorced mind, body, spirit, in the past, that was really a shame.
Yeah.
You need to really, we're integrated, right? We become disintegrated. We need to connect all those three and put the same amount of time and importance and significance and priority in on all those to make sure we're clicking on all eight.
Good. Yeah.
So,
good stuff.
So we're talking because we took a little break. And by the way, yes, we're glad we're back. We missed you. And by the way, we're going to start talking about some stuff today that you may think, wait, we want more marriage content, which, yep, we get you. So if there's something specific about marriage that you want to hear, please just reach out to us. Let us know. You can text us, you can email us, call us, comment on the podcast if you're on Spotify or YouTube. So the deal is we feel like there's so many times we start talking about a subject and we feel like it may be redundant, but we're doing these podcasts weekly, obviously. And this is, by the way, we're on starting season 3.
Wow.
Season 3. Yeah. But we plan to do this a lot. So there's going to be some redundancy. We're going to be talking about some things, and so many things overlap, right? But you brought up something, since we were taking a break and we did not release this on Labor Day. And I think I lied. I think back when we were taking the break, I said we would release it on Monday, but we wanted to honor Labor Day, take the little break and watch some football, watch the U.S. Open, do all this stuff. But you brought up something about Labor Day that reminded you of something you sent me a few weeks back. And so I want you to talk about that, and let's get into it as far as what, maybe the purpose of Labor Day is originally or was originally. And, but just some stuff you sent me that kind of points out a little bit of the disease in our culture around work.
Yes. So I was mindful yesterday about Labor Day, and even I thought I knew what it was about, and there's probably even like a deeper hole you can go down into researching it. But basically I just Googled again Labor Day meaning, and it seemed from what what I've already known and what I read again was it really is a day to honor the workers of our nation. And I think also maybe in Europe they do it as well. But anyway, y'all can do your own research on that. And you can let me know if I'm missing something. But really and truly, it is just a day to honor people that work hard every day. And so it got me to thinking, and I did a post about it, but just gratitude for being able to work, being healthy enough to work, mind, body, soul, the work that people put in to provide for their family. Yeah. And I've tried to tell you a lot through the years. Thank you so much for working so hard to provide for our family. I don't take that lightly. And so I think of, people that are married. I, of course, think of single moms that are crushing it, working maybe even 2, sometimes 3 jobs to make it happen for their family. I'm sensitive and thinking about people that work from home that don't actually get paid for their work. And there was a season that was me for a long time. And that is a whole other conversation, but not being compensated for your work. But it's a paycheck of the heart. Yeah. You're raising all those little ankle biters and creating a safe space for your family to be nurtured and for love to exist and to raise those kids. So anyway.
And when you talk about not getting compensated, I just thought about how we're all wired differently and the differences in people. And so many people, they just, hey, I want the money, and some people, I want the recognition. Hey, I want to feel valued. I want to feel appreciated. So there's a different, reward systems that we all respond to. Yeah.
So
and as far as work, what I love about it's recognizing not just and I know it's the work, but it's the contributions. It's what are you doing that's significant, that makes an impact, that makes a difference. And I think we all want to feel like we're doing something that makes a difference, that makes an impact. People talk about maybe in the first half of life feeling like they're receiving, and now I want to give back, focusing on giving back and what have you received that you want to give away, right? What have you earned that it came as a challenge. And so now you're very appreciative. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy was talking about how we want, the cheat code, we want the magic pill, we want something that will give us the results without the effort. And he was just talking about how that's just, it's not sustainable and not healthy on for many reasons. But one of the things is we don't appreciate it if we didn't, and it's not as fulfilling. What we want to do is do the work. We want the challenge. We want the resistance. We want to have to push against something. We want to have to accomplish something. And then it's so rewarding when we do, right? But so many times we don't realize that. It's, again, the quick fix in our culture. And we want the results without the work. But it's not that you won't appreciate it as much, right? It's the person whose car looks like crap, full of fries and trash and stuff like that because they didn't have to work for it. It was given to them by daddy. And versus the people who, they keep that thing spotless because they had to work for that car. But it's also just in the process. The process is what we enjoy. That's why we work. But have we become so obsessed with productivity and we've maybe put our identity into what we can accomplish, and we've tied our identity to our production and to our work and maybe our title or our roles in work, that we have lost sight of what true living is. So I think that'll set you up.
I read this the other day and I sent it to you, and I think I sent it to Sarah, but it really just spoke to me. So it's from a book that actually Sarah gave me for Christmas called The Pivot Year.
Sarah Carson's significant other.
Girly.
Yep.
The Pivot Year, 365 days to become the person you truly want to be. And it's the author is Brianna Wiest, Wiest.
Little hey,
anyway,
hey.
A little hey to Brianna. Oh, our first hey of the new season. Hey, Brianna. Okay, so day 81 says, you live in a world that tells you to work in 8-hour stretches, and that is productivity. You live in a world that tells you to devote 40 years of your life to a career you are lukewarm about, and that is safety. You live in a world that tells you to surround yourself with as many people as possible, and that is connection. You live in a world that tells you to pack your schedule with as much as you can, and that is fullness. You live in a world that aims to slowly lose what it is that makes you feel most alive, and that is responsibility. Of course you feel disillusioned. Of course it hurts. We have built a society that does not often cater to the layers, intricacies, and changes that a human soul phases through. You will have to learn to create your own universe within that world, and maybe, just maybe, the waves you initiate for yourself will touch someone else, will inspire another person to move in the same way. Maybe your life will be a lighthouse for the other aching hearts yearning to know that there is another way to walk through their years, that there is still hope amid it all.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That spoke to me. That spoke to me a lot because, it all seems so true. We live in this world, and because of the news or because we see what everyone else is doing or social media, we just fit right in that's how it's supposed to be. So you work 8 hours every day, or you work 40 years of your whole life just because I've got to, this is safe. This is comfy. I have a job. I should just be thankful having, doing what I do. We now live in a world that, we can be around people 24/7, whether it be social media, and I'm putting it with people in quotes, and we take that as connection. And so, and of course I felt, I know you were like, amen, sister. You live in a world that tells you to pack your schedule with as much as you can, and that's fullness. So that is my bent, is to have a lot of activity, a lot of people all the time. But the older I get, and this is kind of what I've
and you are getting old.
I'm getting very old. Oh, don't talk to me about it. 60-year-old in about 20 days. Okay, so
can you believe that?
No, I can't.
Can we just let's don't.
He's about to be 60. Okay,
60. And can I tell you, I feel not a day over 59. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing that there is an alternative moving forward, that life doesn't have to look like that.
Right.
Life doesn't have to look a lot of ways that we think it's supposed to look. And I think the older you get, we have the luxury of wisdom and learning, the kind of life of hard knocks, learning the hard way and realizing, wow, we still have some years to go, and we're going to choose how we spend that time. We're going to choose how we spend those years. So if my bent is to, sometimes I picture myself, I don't think it's a top. It's another kind of toy that I'm picturing, but you pull the string on the top of the head and it goes.
Gyroscope?
Well, maybe kind of.
Or maybe a top.
It's just like a little toy that you just pull this little thing and it just goes round and round, just zips out of control. And I pictured that's me. That like I just am, wind me up and there I go. And I'm just moving around the house, doing this, that, the other. And there's always stuff to do. Don't get me wrong. But that's how I've been my whole life, just active and in the big middle of everything and just full of activity all the time, full of people all the time.
Right.
And I think naturally that is just going to be my bent forever, because you're either that or you're not. But what I've realized is the power of quiet, the power of being alone, and being still and being thoughtful and being mindful and being present. And so what are the things that I can do in my life to pull me in that direction? So in a way, I feel like a part-time job for me for probably the last 10 years, 15 years has been, how can I move in life in that way? More than just crazy, busy, active all the time, which is okay. But also a lot of it is like mindless. A lot of it is just filling my life full of more and more stuff instead of, there's a really, great value in just being still and quiet, less simplicity, all that.
When you talk about slowing down, and I can just picture some of the things that you've installed into your life, the miracle morning, which includes some quiet time, some silence, and your meditation, your prayer, you're getting on your yoga mat, and breathing and doing some grounding. What do you say to those people? Easy for you to say. Here you are at this stage of your life. You don't have 3 ankle biters running around. You're not running kids around in the car line and daycare, and you're not, fill in the blank. You're not busy. You've got your own business, so you're at home and you're not having to drive in traffic an hour one. Blah blah blah. So what do you say to those people who say, well, it's easy for you to say? So it's they'd love that. They would love to have more of those things installed in their life. And my question would be, would you really? I mean, if you could choose, would you choose that? Because some of us just love to redline, we're just, kind of no margin. Yeah, what do you say?
I would say you can't afford not to figure out how you can build this into your life. You're not a victim of your life. I don't care who you are, what stage of life you're in.
Let's go.
Because you can see, like I'm picturing like the people that I feel like I picture.
And I'll say this real quick. You've never been more busy in your entire life. Starting long haul marriage, even though we're quote empty nesters. No, we're not. We're open nesters.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Our life is full and busy all the time, but we just choose kind of how we want that to look. And what's the word? I balance it with, so for a long time, I was not balanced. I was just, well, I was about to say a phrase that's probably not nice. You say, I can't think of it. I was just forward, just moving forward at a quick pace.
What?
Balls to the wall. Okay.
Oh,
whatever.
Balls to the wall? We could say that.
Is that okay?
Haul.
I didn't know if that was nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I couldn't think of another way to say it. It was just all out, crazy, busy all the time. And there are seasons that are busier than others as far as physical, being physically busy.
Yes.
And then there are other times where you could be emotionally busy, where you're not having to do as much for your children or for your family, but emotionally you're just, there's a lot to do and think about. And anyway, so I'm just picturing, I don't know why my heart is so for just thinking of single moms that are just providing for their family and they don't have someone else helping them.
Right.
And so you could either
or
single dad, and you could live that life and just think, I don't have time or money to pay attention. I can't do any of that. Or you can be some of the single moms that I know that figure out a way to build that in. It doesn't cost a lot of money and it doesn't cost a lot of time. And if you say that you don't have time for 5 minutes of stillness and quiet in the morning, or if you need to build it in the evening, okay. So if you can't build 5 or 10 minutes into your day of that, then like we do have a problem. Yeah. And I think most of the time it's just that's your frustration coming out saying, if you only knew, people just want to be heard. They want to hear life is hard, and we hear that. And I told you, a lot of my life, I haven't lived that way. It is so much easier to fall into the trap of, I'm so freaking busy and all these kids are going every which way, and I am just a chauffeur, or, what's for dinner again, night after night after, like there's always something that you could kind of fall victim to, or if you can work at it, it can shift into, I am so grateful for these kids. I'm so grateful that we get to have dinner every night or whatever. So it is a shift. It seems slight, but it will make the biggest difference in your life.
And I think the biggest frustration that I see, it's not that people don't want to do it or have never thought of that. I see this resentment and even some cynicism around it because they just can't figure out how to do it. Like easy for you to say. And it's like, and you're right, built in that is someone who's begging to be validated in their pain, validated in their busyness and some of their resentment about what life has dealt them. And there's no question, some of these people have been dealt crappy hands that seem crappier than someone else.
Yes.
There's no question about that.
Yes.
It was, and I had a tendency, especially early on, to play that victim or the martyr. We had left a thriving community of faith that we were in at the time to plant a church. And when you quote plant a church, you're starting a business. You're starting this thing from scratch. And there was, we talked about, 10 families, 2 of us on staff. And in those early days, I mean, again, the meteoric rise of that thing, how it just blew up quickly. And, so the fact that you've got a title or a role, that's just a joke. So you're wearing 15 hats, right? And all of us were when this thing was small, and your staff is small and your volunteer army is small. But there were some things expected of you if you were on staff, right? And you are wearing multiple hats. And then all of a sudden you feel like you're starting to get the lion's share of the people who are coming to you during the week. And I remember when, here I am, I've got this 2 or 3 jobs, right? And that are very public and are going to be seen on the weekend because you're getting ready for the weekend service or the midweek service and you're doing all this stuff. But then these people are coming through the week, which was the point, right? People who need help and want, if we're a hospital for sick people, you want some doctors available during the week, not just people standing up marketing the hospital on Sunday, right? And so it was that resentment that I started seeing people as an interruption or a distraction. And it's like, no, this is the point. But when I felt like I was the only one picking up that oar, if you will, to row that part of the boat, then I started getting resentful. And I remember just thinking, man, I got way too much to do. And I was telling a friend, and I was just redlining all the time and really resentful and not having fun. And he kept looking at me and saying, you don't have to live this way. And I'm like, yeah. You don't have to live this way. And he just kept saying, and I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't understand. If I don't do it, nobody else will. You don't have to live this way. And he just kept saying, I wanted to punch him in the freaking face, Yeah. And what's interesting is he was right. There was a choice. I did not have to live that way. And for me, and even now, when we had the talk about how busy we were in long haul marriage, and like, somebody's got to do it. The accounting fairies aren't going to come in here, and the tech fairies aren't going to come and produce this podcast. It came down to trust for me. I had to trust that if I didn't do it that way, you don't have to live this way. Okay, that you don't just throw up your hands in a little 2-year-old temper tantrum and say, okay, I quit and take my balls and go home and don't do anything, but you relax. And you trust that God is going to make up the difference. When you do put the balance, when you do put the quiet, when you do put the meditation and the prayer, when you do give the me time and the self-care and the soul care, that the Sabbath rest, you're going to accomplish more in 6 days than you do in 7. That when you do give a day off from the gym, that recovery happens, and that rest and recovery will actually help you rebuild. And so it really came down to some faith stuff for me. I had to trust that God was really going to do some things in my life that was going to be better than me trying to just white knuckle it and be Mr. Production all the time.
I look at my life now as a 58-year-old. Is that what I am? 58. And I think back to whenever I was in my 20s, and I wish I could go back and tell that girl, like, slow down. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to work so hard. You don't have to be productive every minute of every day. But honestly, like I say, I want to go back and talk to that 20-year-old girl, and I think if I were to talk to when I had my 20-something group for so long, that this is something that we really sat in a lot, was this concept of being still and being quiet. And how does that look? How do you build that into your life? So honestly, I want to tell someone that age, whenever I was younger like that, but I don't wish to go back. Like, I don't think that there are regrets. I think you just build on what you know at the time. And I didn't probably at that point in time have people saying this kind of stuff to me. If I did, I probably would have been like, what the heck are you talking about? Are you just like some monk that's living, yogi that's living up on a hill? And just the older I get, the more crunchy I get. So I can't go back, but I do want to share with people that are younger, just what you said. Life doesn't have to be this way.
Right. And so, so many people, so God bless us. We came by it honestly, what was modeled in our society, in our culture, where we were in the era of our lives. If you look back at hunter-gatherers, I mean, it's like, what are we doing here? Where did we come from? We don't know, but what are we doing? We're going to survive. We got to kill and eat. We got to kill or be killed, kind of thing. And then you fast forward to agriculture. It's like, okay, we're going to plant and harvest, right? And it's like, this is going to be a new way. And then you look at industrial revolution, basically, and here we are, right? And now we understand that there's this new AI, right, revolution. But that plays well into it. If you look back, like, why did we create some of the things if we're just wanting to remain on the planet and not starve? Well, then all of a sudden, let's start building some things and let's start automating some things. Let's make things more convenient, more comfortable. Let's actually do some things that will give us some time back, right? Let's have these smart machines do some things that we don't have to do. We won't have to work as hard, work smarter, not harder, and maybe we'll have some time back. But it became this deal where all of a sudden, like, who made up 40 hours? This people that talk to me right now, man, I'm working 78 hours a week. And they it's like a little badge of honor. Look how busy I am or how important I am. But let's just go back to 40 hours, right? And so what should have been something where it gives us some margin, gives us some time back, it became this thing that we all worshiped. We're going to work. And maybe, again, part of that's, man, we love the challenge. We love to be productive and to feel like we're contributing. But so much of it came back this construct. We're making things up to do because we're not having to survive. We're bored. So like we can go buy our survival at the store. So I just got to make an income. So we're doing all these arbitrary things to make money, and we're making up jobs, right? Just again to make money, and so that we can go buy our survival. So if you look at that, but let's just talk about 40 hours a week. God, like I said, God bless us. We came by it honestly. So I'm born into a situation, 1965. Yep, 1965. And for the next, just think first 10 years of my life, it's all about school, right? And school. I mean, it's like you're growing up and you're having fun as a little kid, but then all of a sudden you get in the school system. And so then by the time you're, 6, 7 years old, preschool, first grade, and then you go through elementary school, and now it's junior high, middle school, and now it's high school, and now it's college. And what's all that for? It's to get an education so that you can get a college degree. Why? So that you can get a job. It's so that you can have the foot in the door to get a job. I mean, that's all you knew. That's what you were doing.
Right.
That was your purpose, right? To get a job so you can be a, quote, productive member of society. And now I'm going to work 40 hours. And so I'm going to get up and I'm going to give at least, let's just say 8 hours a day of my first time, my first fruits, my first bit of energy, my top priority to my, quote, job, working sometimes with people you don't like, doing something that you hate. And now I'm going to come home and give my leftovers to my family and not have time to do stuff that I actually love to do, that feeds me and my soul, and, you know, to put time into my mental health and my physical health. So we've been doing this, and now here's what I think. I think the younger generation is looking at that going, screw that. Like, that's stupid. What have y'all done? This was not, and this is not living. Okay. So then, and I don't know where I saw it, but I just saw Bill Maher talking to somebody on you know, social media, and he was arguing, okay, so all these people want to do these things that are fulfilling to them and not go work for the man and not spend 40 hours a week doing, but you got to pay bills, and so you got to make money. So he was talking about all these people rejecting the workplace and the workforce, and not everybody's going to be able to have a YouTube channel or be an influencer or start a podcast and make money. But I get what they're rebelling against. And so now you've got, you know, not just talk of, but most economists, a lot of smart people are talking about we're moving more towards the 30-hour work week down to the 15-hour work week. And then how AI is not just replacing blue-collar jobs, it's going to be replacing white-collar jobs. And so so the question is, if AI is going to be doing all this stuff, and without getting into how we solve the problem, you know, is it going to be universal basic income and blah, 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 whether you like it or not. But what are we going to do with our time? So if you go back to what would you do with your time if you weren't getting up, going to, quote, a job for 8 hours, what is it that you would pour your time into? What do you care about? If I cut you open, what do you bleed? What are your passions? What would make you feel fulfilled in your life? What do you love to do? What do you want to give back? What would you contribute to the planet, to the health of society? So those are all good questions I think we need to grapple with. You know, what's driving you? What's your why? Why do you get up in the morning? So sorry, I just kind of...
No, that's awesome. And I don't think that's a once and for all conversation. I pictured little Jamie in her 20s, and I taught school and I loved it. And I was passionate, loved my little first and second graders. And I was really good at it. I look back and I'm like, oh, I was so little. How did I know what I was teaching? But I loved it. Yeah. And so at the time, that's what I loved. And then we started having kids. And so we figured out a way for me to stay home with the kids. Yeah. And so some people love to do that. Some people, they're able to do that. Some people aren't. And they're like, we got to figure out daycare situation where our kid's going to go so that I can go to work, because we need two incomes. And in today's society, that probably even seems more.
By the way, on that, I remember we just used to talk about just the yellow pad, the legal pad. This is when we were in the pencil, you know, just writing down, just trying to figure out how it was going to work, you know, and we would just talk about just breaking the pencil and crumpling up the paper, because on paper it never worked. Yeah. Trying to figure out how to bring you home, or, you know, now bring whoever home, right? Because the one income, will it be sufficient? And it never, ever made sense. And at the time, I mean, I'll just use the number. Back at the time, you were making $37,000 a year as a teacher. And so, you know, one August, you know, we were going to have that $37,000 a year. And then the next month, it was not going to be there. Like, it's gone. And so how do you afford that? Did we replace it? My advice to anyone out there hearing this and just wondering about that, you just adjust. You just make the adjustment. We just did. And honestly, I can't ever say we really missed it. Yeah.
We you know, figured out how to cut some things out and do some things differently. So then after that, and when I went back to work, I think about the kind of the stepping stones that each part of my life, like led to another, led to another, led to another, went into ministry for a while and then stepped back from that and started a Mary Kay business for a while and learned so much with that. I learned so much about ministry too through Mary Kay, getting to be with, woman after woman after woman. That was amazing. And then I felt like God kind of opened the door back to ministry again. And then now into long haul marriage. Back when I was in my 20s, I never was like pining away thinking about when can I meet with people to do coaching or counseling, and how can we share what's happened in our marriage? Like, we were in the throes of it. We were just learning how to be married ourselves and had to go through the hell of a really difficult marriage and receiving help and going to counseling ourselves and learning these new ways. And then, raising kids, and then going, man, I think I have a heart for women, and just one by one, like talking to people and realizing like people want me to listen to them and give wisdom and advice, and we lose a kid. And so how everything that we walked through, the hell that was after we lost Corbin, all of that was going into our backpack of experiences and wisdom that moved us to where we are now, that we would almost a year ago step away from 2 jobs and begin long haul marriage. And that we weren't ready for that in our 20s. It's not like, oh man, we should have done this back when we were 20. We didn't have what we needed at the time to get us to where we are now. So I think the conversation that you brought up about what would you do if I cut you open, what would you bleed? That might be different in every season of your life. So it's really great to ask yourself that kind of over and over and over again. And what we're talking about today, I don't think is like a quick fix. Like, oh, duh, that's what I'll do. Just quit my job and something's going to, this is a mind shift. It's just mindset shift where you just begin to think, wow, could my life look different?
Right.
Is there a different way? And just being curious about that.
What would it look like if I gave the 8 hours that I had the most energy, like maybe even right when I wake up, to people and things that I cared about? How could I somehow engineer that into my life? Could I do it? And so many people say yes, they've done it. And again, there's the cynic. Easy for you to say. So you're right. This is not a no-brainer. It's not easy. This is hard stuff. But it is worth the curiosity. It's worth the wrestling, and it's worth even changing your mindset. Once you again be transformed by the renewing of your mind, first realizing that you inherited maybe a system that is harmful. Like, this is crazy. This is so many of the things that we've just accepted as the norms in our society, in our culture. They're just crazy. Like, why did we design this? Who designed this system where we're leaving the house, leaving our families, becoming separated from our families, even the generational living, separating kids, having them leave the nest when they're still kids and clueless, right? The university system, going over and going to school, getting into debt. I mean, this is crazy. And then expecting them to thrive, and we wonder why they have failure to thrive, or they're anxious being away from their family system. You think, and how we feel shame. It's the kid in your basement, and failure to launch and all that. I mean, this is crazy. And us saying it's going to be okay for us to go give 40 years of our lives, and maybe so that we can retire. And then you have how long after you retire before you're just dead, So so most people have seen that this is crazy, but it's like, now what do we do about it?
Yeah.
Right. And I love what you said about being curious and about maybe just, hey, what could that look like? And start to dream about that and see if there's a way that is God calling you to engineer something? Is he, the engineer? Is he the conductor in your train? And is he the one saying, hey, we've got another way and let's switch tracks and let me show you a new way to think and a new way to live. And let's just see if I don't provide for your needs.
Yeah. I just read this morning, Matthew whatever. Well, I don't remember what it is, but Matthew something.
6:33. Seek first.
Yes.
Kingdom?
Is it 6:33? Okay,
know.
I love it. I think that's right. And this is from the Passion. Ask. And
Wait, when you say from the Passion,
the Passion is a translation.
Okay.
The Passion translation.
Right.
Sorry.
So this has now superseded the Message. Is the cool
maybe
version. Okay.
Matthew 7:7. Ask and the gift is yours. Seek and you'll discover. Knock and the door will be open to you. Or ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. So this morning I found myself reading that.
You want to sing Seek Ye First real quick?
Yes. You want to? Okay, let's do it.
Seek ye
first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Ask and
and all these things will be added to you. That's the second verse. That's okay.
Crap.
I was about to just break into harmony. We spared you. That's it.
Any of you guys that grew up in the Church of Christ probably know that song from youth group days.
And now
anyway,
we will finish.
Okay, let me just
if you'll all stand, we'll sing 728B.
Let me just bring this back to what I was saying. So I found myself reading that scripture going, what have I not been asking for? What have I not been seeking? And what have I not been knocking, on the door for? So it kind of opened me up a little bit more to ask, seek, and knock. So,
yeah. If nothing else, the challenge would be to take some time to slow down and to evaluate, to look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, right? How you do anything's how you do everything. So let's take a look at where we are. Do we feel like we have any margin, any peace? What are we working for when it's on this Labor Day, time? What are we laboring for? What's the purpose? And, are we living to work or working to live, right? And so, yeah, this is good stuff, James. Thanks for bringing that. And
well,
I think that's a good.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Maybe
we've missed you guys.
It's been great. Yeah, maybe we'll. It was a good little break for us. Speaking of Labor Day. So yeah, we're getting to some exciting things in the fall. So let's talk about, wedding season is upon us.
So I'm looking at your board right now. So we have a big whiteboard in our office. It needs to be larger, by the way, as I look at it. So you've got like 5 weddings between October and November.
October 3rd, 4th, 18th, 14th of November, and 23rd of November. Don't be looking for me. I'll be officiating wedding.
This Sunday, September 7th, we have an open house at the Lucky Spur in Justin, Texas from 2 to 4. So we'll be there representing.
Here, 2 to 4.
So come see us if you're around Justin this Sunday, September 7th at 2. And then we have a workshop coming up middle of October 15th at Justin Coffee. Hey to
So be looking for
Carissa.
Some info about that coming out on social media very, very soon. And exciting news you may have seen on social media. Jamie has I think you did the little commercial for Aurora Meadow.
I did.
The newest wedding venue in North Texas. Little intimate backyard weddings.
Yeah, it's a little wedding space limited.
Yeah.
Like we can't.
100 people
we're
or
not
so.
We're not going to do a bazillion back there, but it is a kind of, what do you want to call it?
So if you're intimate and it's very, very personal. It just feels like it's the people who don't want to do in the fanfare, but you still want a beautiful, beautiful space. And we know an officiant that would be happy to work with you as well.
Yeah.
Or officiants. But yeah, so if you're interested and you're looking to not spend your first year's mortgage payments on a wedding, we would love to host you in our backyard at Aurora Meadow. So be looking for that little ad. If you haven't seen it, go to our socials and check it out. It's a really cool space. It's beautiful. We've hosted 2 so far. They went so well. We thought we're crazy enough to get into this new business here. So yeah, anything else to promote?
No.
I guess just be looking for the 15th of October. Yeah, for our little workshop at Justin Coffee Co. because space will be limited. It's going to be cool though this time. We're not in the little room. We're going to be in on their patio.
That's going to be great.
It'll be nice weather.
I know.
All right, babe. Cool.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Love you guys.